There's a doctor who shared something really interesting about how a particular experience changed the way she treats some of her patients. Take a moment and listen to this.
There was one night in my medical practice that changed everything that I thought I knew, everything they teach us in science and in nursing school, medical school, college, biology, all the things. They really never talked about ghosts or spirits or whatever term makes you comfortable. And it's not just about what happens after we die, but it's really what's shifted is how I care for patients while we're all still here, right? And what I experienced that night with my ghost story that I'm going to tell you didn't just shake my beliefs, it did quietly reshape the way I practice medicine. Yeah. I went out to see a patient because many of you may not know, I worked in hospice for more than 10 years, working with the dying. And one night I had to go out and pronounce a patient deceased, and went out there. And I won't go into the details of that, but they were indeed passed on, moved on to the other realm. And as I was driving home in the middle of the night, in the corner of my eye, I kept seeing a shadow in my passenger seat. I kept looking over, nothing was there. Looked over, nothing is there. But yet I kept seeing it, and they were like signaling to me, trying to wave to me. And I was like, okay. So I get home, and all of a sudden, and my cat, who was still alive at the time, just kind of staring at the walls, batting at the walls with their little cat paws, and just kind of like looked over, like, what is my cat seeing? Like, what? There's nothing there. What is my cat seeing? And then I hear a crash in the other room. I go in there, and yes, I'm old enough to have CD, so I had a big CD tower, and it wasn't my cat, because my cat couldn't have knocked this over. It had been there for years. It had totally knocked over, CDs everywhere. And I was like, okay, well, I just chalked it up to that was weird. And then I hear another crash. Now, this is all in the same night this was happening. I had a shelf where it had a lot of supplies and whatnot. And again, had been there for years. It's heavy, kind of, an animal couldn't knock it over. It knocks over, everything falls out. And so I was like, okay, something weird is going on. I'm seeing something in my passenger seat on the way home. I just, hospice for 10 years, and I never had a deceased patient follow me home before this. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen all the time. And I kept seeing it from the corner of my eye. You have rods and cones in your eye for vision. And when you're looking certain directions, yes, there's different information that comes in. So from your peripheral vision, there is different information that comes in. And that's just how the eye works. But when I would go over and look, there was nothing there. Now, all of a sudden, there's things crashing down in my house. Things are falling over. My cat is acting very strange, staring at the wall. And this was, I will call it my ghost story, because I can't explain what happened, but how I got it to end was I was in my house, and I just shouted out in my house, like, you need to go into the light, and your family is waiting for you in the light, and God loves you. Go into the light, all that. And after that night, everything did stop. And now that story was a big part of how it changed how I see patients, how I care for patients. Now, how it affected and reshaped how I practice medicine is because, there was a part of me that was always just like, okay, always looking at the physical side of people. Like, I've got to find out what's wrong with them, find the right cure, the right treatment plan. But as these things started to develop, I was like, okay, we got to incorporate more of what's going on with them, mind, body, person. And with some patients, we would discuss spirituality at length. Now, I have other patients that are just not that. And so they're paying for the time, right? So I'm not going to sit there and talk about the spiritual world with them. But I know certain things I would say to patients, if they were open to it, we would end up talking about spirituality and, why we're all here. And that was really part of the whole, I guess, how I would relate to patients and treatment plans and things like that.
Anyway, there's another clip I'd like to share with you in this video, and it's about what this exorcist said, and I really think you'll find this one helpful.
We had a conference in Rome one time that I attended, and one of the presenters said that they knew that drug cartels, common practice for them to bring drugs into a room before they're going to ship them, large amounts, and have Satanists come in and curse the drugs so that people were not just affected by the chemicals they're ingesting, but there's actually spiritual evil connected to the drugs. And when I say that to most of the guys who've had serious drug problems, they're just kind of like, yeah, not surprised. Nobody's really ever told them that directly, but not surprised. And when I start praying with them, they usually say, yeah, they can sense something going on when I pray to break whatever curse, whatever evil has attached themselves to them through the use of the drugs. Okay, it's like touching something very unholy, something cursed. Okay, evil finds a way, wants to connect with you in a very profound way. Same thing with like demonic tattoos. There are people who worship evil, who are tattoo artists, who love to do, excuse me, you know, like skulls, like evil pictures, tattoo them, and they mix in the tattoo ink some of their own blood to connect a curse by the tattoo to the body of the person, so that they receive a cursed tattoo, so that a demon actually would be attached to them. Because I'll ask guys, usually they come in, some of them are all tatted up, and I say to them, so I got a lot of tattoos, well, show me some of the tattoos. I go, got any demonic tattoos? They go, oh yeah, da-da-da. Then I go, well, after you got that, did your life change? Did that tattoo seem to have a serious impact in your life? And some of the guys go, yeah, it did kind of go crazy after that. I go, well, let's bless that too. Let's deconsecrate that tattoo, because I believe it has some evil connection that's attached to you. And so I've blessed a fair share of tattoos in the prison, and sometimes I get very interesting reactions from the guys when the holy water hits the tattoo, and we start praying over the tattoo like, okay, something's going on here. I don't know what it is. Probably the most graphic one that I remember is a person had a skull on his side with 3 red 6s on it. And I had blessed many of his tattoos probably a year before. And he finally came in and we were talking, and he says, I need you to bless this tattoo. And so he pulled up his shirt and I said, I don't remember that tattoo. I blessed a bunch of other ones last time. He goes, yeah, I didn't show you this one. So I started praying over the tattoo and I sprinkled some holy water, and he started yelling that it burns, it burns. Just like, oh yeah, that's an evil tattoo. That's a very evil tattoo. You know, that whoever put that on you was very serious what they were doing to attach evil to you physically in your body. He's a pretty tough guy. Ran, pretty tough people, bikers and stuff like that, but was really shocked that how that tattoo affected him.
And as I'm going to have another interview with Father Iannuzzi soon, I'd like to make this clip of him as the last one in this video.
If you read the book of Revelation, which we are living in today, in particular, the opening up of the 6th and 7th seals, if you read the book of Revelation, it speaks of Mary not only clothed with the Son in chapter 12, but a woman about to give birth. That is, give rise to the nascent church in these end times. She's about to give birth to the church that reigns and lives in the divine will universally, globally. So this dragon that's about to make war with the rest of her offspring, that's us. We Christians today is in battle with our mother, who is protecting her offspring, which is us. Sometimes people say that there's no evidence in Scripture that Mary is our mother or the mother of the church. Just read the book of Revelation where it says that we are her offspring. It's right there. Satan went to wage war on the rest of her offspring. That means we are her offspring. We are the offspring of the Blessed Virgin Mary. She is our mother. She is the mother of the church. Now more than ever, the church needs its mother's assistance. And Mary, who is our mother, not just the mother of God, which is one of the most important titles she has, in addition to mother and queen of the divine will, reminds us, this title, mother of the church, that she is now more than ever performing her prodigies and miracles in these end times, coming to the aid of us, the Nash Church that's already been conceived in the life of Luisa, Faustina, St. Padre Pio, and others who have lived this gift of the divine will, but that will be born into the society across the world after the fire, by means of the fire, in which all the evildoers and non-believers will be done away with, and a small remnant will survive. To guide this remnant church, as in the days of Noah, to reoccupy the earth, where the meek will inherit the earth, and every knee bend and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, thereby establishing the Eucharistic reign of Christ and the triumph of the Immaculate Heart, prophesied at Fatima and by Father Stefano Gobi. At Fatima, the Blessed Mother said, "Many nations will be annihilated from the face of the earth," which is yet to happen, "but in the end I will give to the world an era of peace, and my Immaculate Heart will triumph." And Father Gobi adds, in his ecclesially approved writings,
That will be all for the video this time. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. And hopefully all of you have learned a lot from this video. Remember, if there's any feedback or suggestion, please let us know in the comments below. And until the next one, thanks again for watching, and may God bless you.